Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be talking about verticutting or grooming and what it can do for your lawn and why we should do it. Now the first thing we want to be doing is giving the grass a cut, and I'm just going to go one notch lower than I normally cut on to help the blades go through nice and easily. So I'm going to get this cut now and then we'll see you in a sec. So how do you get a verticutter? Why would you even have one? Well, it all comes down to how much you want to get into lawn care. Now, you can scarify a couple of times a year and your lawn will be lovely. It'll do it the world of good. And to be honest, that's all I've ever done for 25 years. No problem. Scarify once or twice a year. Aerate. Get your products on and mow regular. You don't have to go to the extra expense. However, if you want to take your lawn to the next level, then you can look at verticutting or grooming. It's called a groomer, and verticutting is just another name. It doesn't matter which you use, they both mean exactly the same thing. So scarifying, lawn raking, aerating, dethatching, grooming, verticutting gets a bit confusing, doesn't it? So I normally scarify, and my machine has blades, and the blades are on a piece of metal inside the unit, the mower, the scarifier, whatever, and they spin around. This is the front, and as you push it this way they cut in and rip out the thatchy layer. And the scarifying blades are intended just to scratch the surface of the soil. Okay, you can also get like a budget scarifier, also known as a dethatcher or a lawn rake, that's another name, and they are the more gentle versions, the type that you get from Screwfix or Aldi, and they've got little metal spokes and they spin round and they do the same thing, but they're not as effective. You have to go over a few times to get the same result as what you would do with blades. Aeration is just punching holes in the ground. So let's talk about verticutting. Let's talk about grooming. Okay, I have here a Cobra scarifier, and that is petrol, and we have there a Hyundai scarifier, which is electric. Okay, let me just show you this. So in here you can see we've got the blades, and as they rotate round they scratch the soil surface and take out the thatchy layer, and they will do it fast and quick, and they are the most aggressive. Oh my god, our dog, she picks things up, slippers, shoes, socks, and brings them out, and she was just coming out with one of mine. Anyway, so let's have a look at this little thing. This is also a scarifier or a lawn rake. It's the same as that, but not as aggressive, and this is what I'm talking about with the little metal spokes. As this spins round, these metal spokes here scratch into the soil. So it's important to differentiate between the two. The blades are very quick, very aggressive, and get the job done. If you go over in a couple of directions, it's great. These things here take a bit longer, but in another way it doesn't rip into it as fast, so there's less chance of you actually sort of tearing things to pieces, but you can still get a good result with time. Now let me show you on the petrol one. Oh, by the way, this thing, I'm going to give it away. I'm going to give this away, or a raffle. I will let you know in a future video about this. Probably, I don't know, probably be a raffle, but it might be a giveaway. I'll let you know. So for me, verticutting is like a micro scarify. It's like an intermediate mini scarify, so to speak. Scarifying, like I say, is the most aggressive, but then this is like running a very sort of hair thinning comb through your hair just to get it absolutely spot on. Do you know what? It's like a secret sauce as well, and it will actually really keep your lawn in a tip-top condition. So this is the Cobra S40C scarifier. It comes with a scarifying cartridge, and it comes with like a dethatching or a very gentle sort of lawn raking cartridge, which is in this box here at the back. Okay, but what we're going to do, we're going to put a grooming cartridge on, or a verticutting cartridge. Same thing, just different names, and there you go. So I'm going to show you how we do this. Now what you need to do is you pull out the spark plug cap, take that off, tip it back and lift the flap up, and then we've got access to underneath. You see there, that is the scarifying cartridge there. Okay, and it's dead simple. It's the same setup, and it can only go in one way. We've got a hexagonal end on that side, which is that piece there, and that goes in down at the far end. And what we're going to do, we're going to undo these 4 nuts, and then the cartridge can be wiggled out. So let's crack on with this. It's 10mm, 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 and you need another 10mm for the inside. And all you have to do, a bit of a wiggle, and it pops straight out. So you can see it is exactly the same layout. We've got these plates on here. It's the same width. They've all been made up. The spaces are really good. It's like a centimetre between each one. And it's the same on the end. So all we need to do is pop it back in. Because that's hexagonal on that end and that one isn't, there's no way of putting it in the wrong way round. So we're going to offer it up, put this hexagonal end into that hexagonal slot in there, and then we're going to offer it up in between these gaps, and we'll just get everything fastened back in. So as long as it's in on the hexagonal side, you've got this cover and you've got this plate. This plate slides up underneath, and then this cover will go on top, and it's all just got to line up with these holes. We can get one in first just to hold it in place. This is probably the fiddliest part of things. Right, so I want to know how deep you should be going, which one should you be using at which times. I'm going to go into this properly now. When you're doing a lawn renovation, and it hasn't been done for a long time, you want to put the scarifying blades on, which are these. These are heavy duty, rough, and will take a lot of material out. These you want to be just scratching into the surface of the soil. Anything up to sort of 5mm, something like that. And it's scraping out all the dead matter, especially if you're going across in one direction and then across at an angle. This is what they call a rake, a lawn rake. It's just like raking your lawn with a hand rake, but it's powered, so it's a lot faster than using a hand rake. Now these are obviously not as aggressive as the blades, but it does a similar job. If you are keeping on top of your scarifying, you can probably get away with one of these twice a year, something like that, and that is absolutely fine. Again, just touching the surface of the soil, just going into it a little bit. We've got these metal springs here, and then we've got the blades there that we've put on. Now they are a bit different. You can go over your lawn with the verticutter blades once a month, once every 2 or 3 weeks, but probably once a month will be absolutely fine. And to me, it's like doing a microscopic renovation, a microscopic scarify. It is the most gentlest of thing, and very little amount comes out. But as that thatch layer builds up, which it always builds up over the year, as it builds up, you can maintain the you can maintain it with a verticutter groomer blade, and it's just teasing out the small amounts of thatch all the time. And what that does, it allows air to blow down the grooves, which means that the grass thrives, it recovers really fast, and you keep it in absolutely pristine, tip-top condition. That's the soil, blades of grass, build up of thatch, which just builds up. That's called surface thatch, and you get something similar under the soil called subsurface thatch. Holotine aeration helps to deal with subsurface thatch. Scarifying, grooming, raking all deal with what goes off above the ground, pretty much. A deep scarify will also remove some of this subsurface thatch. That's when you're using the big metal heavy duty blades. So when you are using the scarifier, which are the big heavy duty blades, they're going to be spinning round, and you want them just scratching in to the surface of the soil. Okay? When you're using a lawn raker, it's very similar, but because it's not as aggressive, you need to just be more gentle with it and maybe go down in stages and just scratching the surface of the soil. Try not to go too deep. Now when you're using a verticutter or groomer, you do not want to be going into the soil. You want to be just above it. Just above it. There. Okay? Now you get lateral stems, stolons, which run across the surface of the ground depending on the grass species, and as they run across, they can produce new grass roots. So the verticutter will help to maintain that, and it will cut into those which will produce new grasses. If you've got wheat grasses, it will eventually weaken it and let the other grasses thrive and take over. So that's your scarifying blade deep into the soil. The lawn raker only just touching the soil there, and then the verticutter or groomer cartridge just above the soil. Now to adjust the height, you need to use the height adjustment on your machine, and every machine has a different way of dealing with that. With this one, it's here. Now as you turn this, it lowers the blades which are underneath, so you need to turn it anti-clockwise several times, get onto your lawn, and then just slowly turn it so it gradually goes down until you are getting the desired height, and then you can begin to go across the lawn. Just make sure you give it a bit of a cut first. Doesn't have to be super short, but probably about 30-40 mil, something like that. So you start off by making sure you've got everything on a high setting. So this was wound all the way up. So here I just want to point out that I got it wrong. You don't have it all the way up in the beginning, you have it all the way down, which lifts the blades all the way up. But I will figure this out later on, which you'll see in the video. What depth we're actually going in to the thatch and teasing out some of that dead necrotic growth, which is like the slowly decaying grass, which is just starting to build up and just starting to turn into a layer of thatch. You can do this regular, you can do this like every 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks to suit you, and it will keep it in pristine condition. So let's get it fired up. So actually that was just cutting into the soil, and it's actually acted like a scarifier, which is what we don't want to do, because it will damage the blades and they will die very quickly. So I'm going to see if I can raise the height anymore. Yes, because I'm a plonker. I had it wound the wrong way. You actually turn it to the right when you want to, so it's not going into the ground. So I've turned it all the way down now to the bottom. That's it. Right, so I've done a few passes at different heights until you can see that it's actually going into the grass and not into the soil. And I'm trying to get an absolutely perfect position, but you know what? Anything is better than nothing. So, the idea is, go over the lawn, it will look slightly rough, but even better, what's happening is you can see that the verticutting blades actually pick up these things, and these are the ones that creep across, so they stand them up, which means we'll get them when we run over with the mower at the end. And you can see here as well, it's made some of these stand up. So let's crack on, let's get this run over, we'll take it from there. So there you have it. You start improving your lawn, taking it to the next level, taking it up to the top level for very little cost compared to what it would cost you if you had a high-end machine. So you can do it with a domestic scarifier. Doesn't have to be an expensive one, it can be a budget one, and one of these cartridges is literally half, if not a third, of what it would cost for a premium cartridge from one of the high-end manufacturers. So in a nutshell, this lawn's now going to be able to breathe a lot easier. It's going to be happier as a result. It's going to get less fungus in it, and the weed grasses are not going to be quite as aggressive. It's going to weaken those, so the others will fill in and take over. So there you go. Any questions, comments, check down in the description below the video, because that's where I'll be leaving details of the guy who makes these at such an affordable price. He's working on a pre-order basis, which means you put your order in, no payment, doesn't ask you for any payments, you just put your order in, and then once he's generated enough pre-orders, he makes them all. So you might be waiting a couple of weeks. It's because of how busy he is. He likes to make so many of each one and then he can get them out, but it depends what sort of stock levels he's got. I'll also leave a list of the current models that he supplies for. However, you can get in touch with him, as he may be able to make one suitable for your scarifier. Just drop him a message, but remember, he's really busy. He's just one man and he's getting a lot of interest. He's actually getting interest from people over in America, another YouTube channel over there, so I think he's going to be even busier very soon. So if you want to get your pre-orders in, I will leave you a discount code which you don't need straight away. Once you've done your pre-order, once it's made, then he will send you a link for payment. Then you put my discount code in and you'll get 10% off. Thanks for watching. Any questions, comments, please leave them down below. We'll see you on the next video.